Welcome back. I'm Patty, and this is Speaking Truth to Goodness. In today's episode, we zero in on self-care and its pivotal role in the landscape of activism. We juxtapose the intense seriousness of past groups and the burnout it often led to against the backdrop of BIPOC communities' approach to self and community care. We discuss the essence of listening deeply to the needs that emerge in the quiet moments and the importance of recognizing and addressing our feelings of guilt so we can pave the way for long-term, nourishing activism. Join us as we delve into the transformational potential of self-care, not as a luxury, but as a foundational element of sustainable activism. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more insights. Here it is.
Strategy is so important, and people mistake tactics for strategy. Civil disobedience is not a strategy, it's a tactic. And it only works if it's in relationship to a goal, which might just be public awareness. I mean, it doesn't have to be a concrete, specific thing. But, I think we need to have a conversation just about what is strategy.
Yeah, if we're going to get concrete, we have to talk about strategy.
What is strategy? Mm-hmm. But I don't want to sidetrack. I just want to put a pin in that.
No, that's good. That's good.
I don't want to divert us because we haven't gotten to self-care yet, and I need it.
Well, so interestingly enough, the outline that was officially for this day, which we haven't really been following exactly, but it was shared vision elements and overcoming ego. And I can't help but notice that you talking about planning the play and everyone's ideas, are hanging in the air. Well, all of a sudden, all of you are seeing those and it became a shared vision, right? Yeah. I mean, if we have that and we can play around with our shared vision without our egos jumping up in the sense of, well, this is my idea and it has to be this way, because that's going to stop, right? That's going to stop whatever we can do together. And if we're all just like, well, we're here, we all have some little parts and pieces, let's move them around. See what kind of picture we can make with all the parts and pieces each of us are bringing to the table. But that's playing. And if we make it more playful, I think we are more able to step out of our egos if we know we're playing around and testing and trying versus, oh my gosh, the world is ending. We have to stop this right now. And I'm angry and I'm freaked out, right? Because then we're going to have one idea because we're going to have to solve this thing that's making us feel scared. So I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking over my experience in different activist groups and movements over the decades, and I'll have to think about this more, but it's possible that XRPDX is the least egotistical group I've been part of. There isn't a lot of insistence on anybody's part that we have to do it my way. In fact, I've never heard anybody say anything like that. And if I compare that in particular to the Poor People's Campaign, which was the last movement group I was part of, we were so serious. And we ended up breaking up, I think, largely because of that.
Oh.
But
so they could have used some play too.
Pardon me?
So they could have used some play maybe too.
We could have used a lot of play, but that was not on the table at all. It was never really considered because we were dealing with poverty and racism. And
the fierce urgency of now.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean that. All I mean to say by that rude noise is, yes, there's a fierce urgency of now, and for us to be available to the fierce urgency of now a week from Friday and 2 years from now, we have to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. So that's where the self-care comes in, and play, obviously, is a big part of self-care.
Indeed.
So, I mean, they're really two different ways of looking at at self-care.
Yeah.
Not something that the movement has ever been good at, in my experience.
Yeah, I think different individuals are differently skilled about that. I mean, there are people in XR that, well, they're on a spectrum. Some of them take good care of themselves. I would put myself in that category, and I have some uneasy feelings about that. And then there are people in the middle, and then there are other people who I see are just like I have been in the past, and many other activists just
Do it.
burning it at both ends.
I had a friend go to her comrades and say, "I'm burning out. What do I do?" And their answer was, "Work harder."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no, that's,
What?
oh dear.
Yeah.
What? So that group probably isn't around anymore, but I don't remember what group it was. But that was a literal response. I feel like I'm losing it. I feel like I've lost my vision, and
Yeah.
you just need to work harder.
Yeah.
No.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
a lot of people in that are who are doing movement work in the African American community now have been developing in the last few years a much better sense of the role of self-care.
Yeah.
BIPOC people in general have a better sense of that than us
really
white activists.
Well, if no other theme has come through, which obviously it has, the sense that us white people, us white activists, have a hell of a lot to learn from the BIPOC community and from the younger generation. I mean, that's coming through pretty loud and clear to me. That there's a whole lot more listening to do as we're sitting here doing a project in which we talk.
Maybe they could study, young people could study how we speak as a language that they learn, and we can do the same in the other because the languages are different. Completely. I mean, the shape and form of them are changing, not just the language or the syntax or that stuff.
I mean, I think it's really wonderful, though, the acknowledgement that the BIPOC community has made really great strides in self-care, in activist work.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to know because we weren't there yet.
And not all BIPOC people are either, but there's
Sure.
a definite strong element of that
Yeah.
in the last few years.
So does self-care in activism mean just not pushing so hard that you burn out? Or is there more to it? Because I feel like there's got to be more to
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot more to it. You know, there's a working group in XR called the Regenerative Culture Working Group, which I'm part of. And that's a lot of our focus is figuring out how to do the work while taking care of each other and ourselves.
Right.
You know, so we have a weekly meeting, and we start every weekly meeting with guided meditation. I guide the group in a meditation, and we tell jokes, not just in that working group, but XR throughout. You know? And we've started singing more at our actions.
Nice.
But
Singing
what
together is powerful.
Yeah. What we're less good at as a group is just taking time away, not doing any XR activity, whether we call it work or play or whatever. You know. Just and I'm going to use this word with quotation marks around it. I'm better at it than I think most other people in XR, because I learned from getting burned out myself and getting very impatient with the like in the Poor People's Campaign, I was part of the state coordinating committee, and you just, if another project or task or action was coming up, you just automatically volunteered, you know. And I realized that I was doing that largely out of guilt. That if I don't do this, then they're not going to think I'm committed.
Whoa, did you just hit on a big thing, I
Said the
think.
G word. He said the
Yeah,
G word.
she did. Yeah. The sense of doing it out of guilt probably isn't our most effective place to work from.
No, it isn't. And it's hard to balance that with, particularly with climate change, the urgency of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if anything was going to compel you to keep your hand in the game, it's climate change. Thank you.
That's true enough.
Yeah.
On the other hand, what's clearer in the climate crisis is that we're not going to solve this in anything close to the short term. I'm not going to see the benefits of my work or play before I die.
Right.
You know.
I may not either, honestly.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
It
it's
may
growling at a distance.
it may continue to get worse and worse no matter what we do for the foreseeable future.
Rude Michaela. Rude Michaela.
Truthful.
Speaking the
Truthful.
truth, too, if you can consider us goodness, I guess.
Right. So what's the motivation? If guilt is toxic to anybody who acts out of that,
Yeah.
what is what is a nourishing motivation for being an activist? Aside from just not doing it, like I meditate every day, I sing to myself, I read a lot, which is often calming to me, even though much of the stuff I'm reading about is hard. I'm pretty good at, in addition to formal meditation, just sitting and doing nothing. I don't know a lot of people who do that. Maybe they do, but yeah.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay.
The closest I come
Aging
is
may have
wandering.
something to do with that. I don't know.
The closest I come is wandering around aimlessly thinking I ought to do something.
Right.
Anxiously, yes.
Yeah. So, but in addition to that, in addition to just taking time away from the work and for yourself, how do we fashion our activist work in nourishing ways while we're doing it? Well, street theater is one way of doing that. Maybe you two have other ideas.
Well, so there's this writer in the 60s, you may know of Paul Goodman. He wrote about a lot of different things. He's a good poet. And he has a poem, and in it, he's lecturing at some university, and the person comes up and says, Mr. Goodman, are you an optimist or a pessimist? And he says, what difference does it make? I'm going to do what I have to do regardless. Right? And in a sense, if we live in relationship to healing values of the people around us and the planet, our life is going to be better. I mean, the pressures don't change whether you're responding in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. So in some ways, the more community we can offer to ourselves and other people and the connections we make with other communities, it's a web that sustains us. It's like, what were we talking about today? Fascia. Not fascist, fascia. The tissue structure that kind of holds our body together. And it's not doing a good job with Patty right now. So she has plantar fasciitis.
Oh yeah, where's my little foot roller thing?
Yeah, I'm using it. Where is it?
Okay.
Little known to all of you is we're very informal here in my front room. We're using foot rollers as we speak. So, and that's self-care, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's self-care.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try to go a little deeper with that. It's like, I think we're meant to live in community. I think we're communal animals. We're animals, ladies and gentlemen, and we're communal. So how do we feed our packness? Well, a pack needs to be connected. A pack needs to be able to protect it and all this stuff. We're in a period where things are being broken apart. And what's really necessary for us to thrive and survive is actually to have not just families, not just communities of different interests, but as human beings on the planet, we need to be connected. I'm trying to speak my truth to my goodness. I mean, I haven't thought about that before, but it's true. I'm just trying to be responsible to myself, which inevitably means I have to be responsible to everyone.
Yeah.
Is there self-care involved? Not nearly enough over time. But playfulness is my self-care. It is making sure that if I don't make 10 people laugh in a day, I have not done my work. I may have to be really silly to do that. Fine. I do silly really good. So I have a luxury. It's a privilege. The kind of activism we have all done is a privilege.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And if we don't approach it as a privilege, we're going to fuck it up.
I think different people come to understanding how they want and need to be in the world in different ways. You are, as you've told us and as you demonstrate every time I see you, you're very intuitive. And what you, the way that you interact with people in the world is not at all planned out or something you would say is particularly rational. I'm not
I
saying
beg your pardon, sir.
I'm not saying
Thank you.
I'm not saying it doesn't contribute very valuable things. I'm just saying that you come to it from your body more than from your head. You know, some of us have to be more intentional than that, and so that's what happened to me a couple of decades ago when my partner got sick with cancer, and I realized for the first time in my life that I had to be there in a way for her that I had never been before. I had to be there for her in a way I'd never been for anybody.
Including yourself.
Including myself, although that was not my part of my process, my thinking process at that point. And that's when I started meditating, understanding that if I was going to be there almost 24/7 for Sarah, I was going to have a piece of time to myself every day. And I started getting up at 5:15 in the morning and meditating for 15 minutes before I did anything else. And it was a gamble. I didn't know that was going to be enough. It turned out to be enough, combined with what I got from giving more of myself to Sarah, caring more for somebody else. I didn't understand the effect of that until I was well into it.
I'm smiling at you, just so the people who are listening know I'm giving you a big smile.
Oh, thanks.
Because of the truth. I mean, obviously, I've gone through the same experience, and it's had a dramatic effect in deepening my ability to understand and care about the world around me, animal, mineral, and vegetable. And very few people, I think, Michaela, have that experience.
I'm not so sure. I mean,
Okay.
Most of us have people that we love die.
Yes.
Eventually.
They may not respond to it in the way that you or I have, and in those cases, they may not get the same thing out of it that you and I
think
have.
that's what I was saying, yeah. I think you took out of it just using this little piece of not just a little piece of time, but also meditation, which I'm completely as yet incapable of doing. I don't have monkey mind. I have mountain gorilla mind. It just lopes off into another part of the impenetrable forest. Come back. So I don't know if that's how that image just popped up, but it did. But what you found was a method that it allowed you, so it could be different for other people. So it'll be different for everyone. But the important thing is, I don't know, right now I'm just sitting here and just being happy because you just said something I wish every caregiver in the world could say, which is they found a balance that allowed them to give more than they had to give.
Right.
I gave way more. 18 months, no backup, 24 hours a day, as your partner dies of dementia. No one can do that, and I did, but I did. Right? I'm working with some of my friends here who are in relatively early stages of dealing with partners with dementia. I'm going to cry now because I know what's coming. I know what they think it's hard now. You have no idea how hard that will be. And so I try to be there for them, but it takes a toll because I haven't healed completely from it.
Yeah. It's
After
triggering,
almost 2.5 years. So
Right.
I just think I just got stuck in how important I think what you said was being able to do more than you are actually capable of doing because you had a method. I had a different method. I took it out of my body. I burned up my body. I lost 90 pounds, which if I hadn't done that, I couldn't have taken care of.
So the way you're talking about that, Jerry, what I hear is that you paid a price for that.
My God.
Right. So there were ways in which you were not taking care of yourself.
But what I heard you say is that you had a very intentioned response, in that you put an action, or you put an action plan into place and you followed it, and it worked for you.
But the intention was, part of the intention was starting to meditate.
Yeah.
But the other part was the intention every time I came together with Sarah, whether it was in the flesh or on the phone or whatever, I learned how to just click into that intention each time. So it was a practice.
Right.
It
But does that mean you clicked out of it when you weren't directly working with her?
Well, I certainly took space from it, but the part of the practice was being ready at any moment to re-engage, to be there for her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's brilliant and beautiful. I mean,
It is.
I think it's uncommon for people to have as much self-awareness and extended self-awareness, meaning including your partner into that awareness. I think that's uncommon, and I did not do it the same way, and I probably paid a greater cost because I didn't have a practice, except loving her and trying to create one moment of joy for her in a day. Don't just posters, have a nice day. Fuck you. Have a nice fucking minute, asshole. I mean, it's like a good day, get over it. It's not happening. So, and learning, and I did, to a certain extent, learn to appreciate that moment. So, I mean, so I'd say I would be sort of half in and half out relative to what you were able to create for yourself and your partner. So,
So part of what I'm getting from our conversation is part of how we take care of ourselves is giving to others.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
there are nourishing ways of doing that and not so nourishing ways of doing that.
So amazing. Yeah.
What are you thinking, Patty?
Yeah.
I'm still feeling all the feels from all that for a second, but I've got things.
I know, dear. I just treasure so much who you are and the beauty with which you engage pain and difficulty in your own history and in our world. So that's why I turn to you, because I want to know how this is working its way through you. It may not be the moment, but that's why I do it.
Well, it may still loop into this, but I guess a few threads from the past few minutes had me thinking about a phrase that I like to use and put occasionally on signs or things I'm doing, which is humanity is one family. And so I was thinking about, each of you put in your own way so much love into your partner in their end of lifetime. Whew. I was just recognizing that, what if we approached every person? God, what? Excuse me.
Okay.
If we approach every person we meet and we recognize that they are part of our pack too, right? And not that we would lose sleep and have a meditation plan in order to take care of every single person we meet on the street, but if we understand that that person could be, should be, would be just as loved and just as important in the world as the people that we have bestowed our deepest love on. I didn't expect this to get so intense. The question was asked a little earlier of if we're not doing what we do out of guilt, what are we doing it out of? And I think we have to do it out of love. I mean, that's kind of like a duh, but it is. It's because, even though putting something good into that other person isn't gonna come back at us, or we think it's not for us, it actually is. Right. For the reason that you're saying, right? That part of self-care is caring for other people, because when we care for other people, we realize we're not alone, that we're part of something, because if we give a shit enough to put our effort into that, that inherently means we're not alone, right? Yeah.
I love you. You know I love you, and I should, and I do, and it's a joy. And now you've just taken this conversation a little bit deeper. Why do we live the way we live? Because we are meant to love one another and the animals and the plants and the air we would like to breathe, which isn't currently available to us. And that's why we do it. And that's, for me, that's all I need to know. And that's all I know how to do right now. I'm very limited right now. But nothing limits my capacity for loving and caring about people. Nothing limits that. So that again, this is funny because I live in such a loving way, just by breathing, and yet I hadn't gotten to framing it as simply as we're meant to love one another. And if we're not doing that, we're not healthy.
Yeah.
So we can't care for ourselves. So this is not my best moment, but people would always say to me, historically, you have to take care of yourself. I would say, fuck you. Yes, but so we used to have something called class stand. We still do. It just looks a little different than it did. So it's like if a bourgeois person says I have to take care of myself, they're on the way to the salon.
Yep.
If a working class proletarian person says I have to take care of myself, is in order to take care of my family, I have to take care of myself. That's different. So the phrase taking care of yourself feels very different depending on your, class stand. So what seems like self-indulgent and is, from one perspective, one set of experiences, is the opposite. And again, when we were, working a lot in the labor movement and trying to involve working people in progressive struggles, I don't think I was as aware as I needed to be. I would think I was somewhat aware of what it costs for a person who's working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, has a family, and asking them to come out on a picket line. Not, and they may. And when they do, they should be honored, because that picket line is like significantly empowered by the presence of people who make a real sacrifice to be there.
I would contend that those are the people that need the more full-time activist folks to be able to pull out small pieces that they can contribute to.
Right.
Right. So yeah, maybe the working class guy isn't going to be out on the picket line at every event,
Right.
but maybe he really cares and wants to do something and can be like, the phone tree manager. I don't know. I'm making things up. Right. But something. Right. And we need to be better at seeing that there is a place for everyone and making space for that. And I don't think we have to do bullshit to make up things for people to do. I think there are things. We just have to not be trying to do it all ourselves and see what we can share with those who want to give.
In the Poor People's Campaign that I was part of for a few years here, we, particularly here in Portland, we worked really hard to make our group diverse in every way possible, but in particular economically diverse, class-wise, and in more particularity include poor people, homeless people. And we succeeded at that, and we were criticized by other national leaders for spending so much time trying to make that true, because we weren't taking public actions as much as other groups were. I ended up feeling like it was a righteous, valiant effort, and it created such problems that we could not consistently launch actions aimed at the system, because the poor homeless people often couldn't follow through on the things they said they would do, or they fell into their alcoholism, or they went into mental challenges, emotional challenges, based on their trauma.
Absolutely, yeah.
I ended up leaving for a number of reasons, but largely because I didn't feel like I had learned how to provide the kind of comradeship and leadership that would serve to empower the poor homeless people in our group. And a lot of that had to do with my own judgment of them that I couldn't get past. And I haven't figured that out. That's been a few years now. And I just felt inadequate as an organizer, as a fellow activist with those people. And most of them faded away as well. Some of them before I did.
I know, it's very hard in that community to create any sort of something coherent, because their lives are chaos. It's really difficult.
Yeah, to be homeless is a full-time job.
Yeah. Well, right, because in that situation, I would think you are likely dealing with the traumatized parts of them that take over what else they would really like to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that must be so frustrating for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. In one instance, I found myself challenging a poor homeless person to not come to meetings drunk. And another instance was this story I told you about the Native American man in that group whose deep trauma and emotional baggage wouldn't allow him to treat others with compassion.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't work. It wasn't working. And both of those people on other levels were incredible leaders. They were providing really good leadership in other ways when they were able, when they were, present in a way that their baggage didn't interrupt.
As we close today's episode on self-care in activism, we're reminded of the deep-seated need for regeneration, not just as a pause, but as an active, intentional practice of rejuvenation. From personal stories to meditative practices and our collective reflections on community nourishment, it's clear that taking care of ourselves and each other is a radical act of resistance. It's about feeding our pack, keeping us connected and protected. Let's carry forward the message that caring for others and ourselves strengthens our collective fight for change. Remember to engage with us through likes, comments, and by subscribing to our channel. Follow us on Instagram to stay connected. Keep speaking truth to goodness, because goodness is all around.